Welcome to Beauty School, a new column about the history behind today's trending beauty. I'm India, contributing beauty editor at Essence Magazine, and we're at the headquarters, and today we're uncovering the very Black history behind hair fashion. From Halle Berry and Natalie Desselle in the 1997 film Babs, to Monique and Taraji P. Henson in the 2004 film Hair Show, hair fashion has had an extreme hold on Black beauty culture since the 90s and early 2000s. Meanwhile, hair magazines and posters were spread across the hair salon, with everyday hairstyles looking like bouffant and sheen sculptures. Since then, hair fashion has been a dying art. We're here with Maahleek, who's one of the artists leading the revival.
Hi, Essence. Hey, boo.
Hello. So first I want to ask, what kind of inspired you to get into hair fashion?
So I grew up in a hair salon with my aunt. She does hair. She used to be in hair shows a lot. I'm from Richmond, Virginia, so that was kind of a thing down there. So I grew up watching her do hair, growing up in the salon, getting off out of school, basically just watching what she does, watching the styles from back in the day. So I've always had an interest in hair. I just usually would do things with braids and whatnot. So recently, probably about the last year or so, I've got more into actually styling hair, but more from like an artistic view. A lot of these styles were wearable back then, but now these days they don't really do them as often. So I just thought it would be a really good way to revive something that died out a long time ago, especially since it highlights, Black creativity as well.
And what are kind of like the references behind your work? How would you describe your work in general as well?
Honestly, whenever I do wigs, I have like a few reference points that I'll do, but then I'll kind of just like freak it. So a lot of it is more so like the sculptural, big styles. I like a lot of like, we call them banana peels, which is what this is. I like a lot of like hard curls, a lot of like updos, things that basically defy gravity. I feel like Black hair is meant to defy gravity, even how our natural hair is. So I feel like styles like this kind of like mimic that. And even like in a lot of like post-colonial African hairstyles are like very big and avant-garde. Well, what we would call avant-garde, but what they do culturally. So I just feel like Black hair is meant to elevate and, cause some attention and some stir.
So kind of going back to the 90s, I feel like back then it was kind of like the standard for hairstylists to know how to do these hairstyles, but over time it's kind of become like a dying art, like we mentioned earlier. So why would you say that these types of hair fashions, like these bouffant, gravity-defying hair looks, aren't popular as much as they were?
So I actually brought this up to my aunt who used to do these styles. She said the trends had just changed. Women wanted more like wearable styles, quote unquote. But the thing is with me, I feel like, you could work jobs back then with like gravity-defying hair. So I just kind of feel like we've kind of assimilated in a way. That's kind of how I feel. I feel like, but also Black people are like trendsetters, so our styles do change over time, but I do feel like this is something that we should have kept alive, especially because it's ways like to highlight Black hair artists and stuff.
So why do you kind of choose like certain colors? Because I feel like your work has a lot of color, whereas like some old school styles might just be like all Black. Of course they had color too, but why do you feel like color is like essential to your work?
I like color. I like my hair being Black, but when I do hair and wigs, I like color on the people. I always look at basically my model's Instagram, or if I know them personally, I'm like, what colors would this person look good in? So I base it off of your undertones. So with you, since you have like more so green undertones, I pick more like cooler shades to do on you. Whereas someone who had like a warmer complexion, I would do like maybe like a few, like maybe like some hot oranges, some hot reds. So I just go off basically your undertones. And I was a makeup artist before I did hair, so I kind of still have that knowledge of the undertones for people, especially Black people.
So can you tell me a little bit about why you chose this style? I know it's not all the way done yet, but just walk me through like your thought process in choosing like the color and like the shape for this one.
So for this specific style, I was thinking about just doing like a big curled flipped hybrid. That's what I would call it. I don't really have names for my styles. I just basically feel it out as I make it on the person. So each one of my wigs, I never really plan. I kind of just let them come to me. The only thing I really plan when I do my hair or wigs is the colors. And then I just let creativity take over, which I feel like it's always a bit more organic, and you create something that, you can have references, but it's good to make something that's like yours as well. You can fuse together a bunch of stuff and just make it unique.
So where do you kind of draw your inspiration and references from?
So a lot of the inspiration I get is more so from like the older Detroit artists. I remember watching a documentary on Hair Wars that really was an inspiration for me because a lot of the Detroit styles were very extravagant. You know, they could work with those hairstyles. There would be like bank tellers with big hair. And you know, they had a whole underground hair artist scene, and the styles that they would do were just very crazy. I feel like they were almost like movie quality type of like artistic styles. So I draw a lot of inspiration from a lot of like North American, like very North hairstylists, Detroit, Chicago, even New York stylists were amazing. I have a couple of New York hairstylist friends who used to do hair shows as well back in the day. So the Northeast and the North has a very big history in hair. So I draw a lot of my inspiration from those people.
Why is resurrecting these hairstyles important to you?
It's important to me because it's something I saw growing up, watching my aunt do it, and I kind of actually witnessed it dying out as I got older, and it's something that I missed because I was always enthralled by these like beautiful black women who would come in with giant hair or like really crimped hard hair. So when I got older, I thought that would be the standard. And you know, at 28 years old, I see a lot of things have changed. So it would be a really amazing thing to bring it back. And I feel like a lot of black hairstylists nowadays just really know how to do like wigs and lace fronts. And I feel like this was something that they could do to just like branch out, because you can do a wig and a lace front, but I feel like if you do hair art, you can be in movies, set design. It's a lot more fun, in my opinion, than just, you know, slapping a wig on.
Thank you, Maahleek, for giving me this 1999 hairstyle.
No problem.
And thanks for watching. We'll be back with the next lesson on essence.com. See you then.